the value of anything, does it really matter? Because at the end of the day, a value is an arbitrary amount that we put on something. The cost of a car, the cost of a sweater, the emotional value you have attached towards a memory, a person, a thing, are those actually something tangible and meaningful? Do they really matter? Because one memory to someone else is vastly different in value to another person. I may really care about a memory or a thing, and someone else may not have the same value to it. So, does it really matter? And it's something that we do in our own minds that make us really biased towards something. And to become a better human, you need to eliminate your bias and commit to a objective view of life. Having an objective view allows you to look at things from a greater perspective, because a biased pigeonholes you in a smaller hole that you cannot see the full horizon and all the options available. See, if you're biased for a relationship is someone who has a lot of money and a lot of fancy objects, you'll never find the right person for you because you're missing out on key aspects of a good personality, someone that fits your lifestyle, things that are objective in a sense that you want someone who works from 9 to 5, for example, or an entrepreneur, and not someone that makes $1 million, because that person may not have the best relationship skills or not be a good person in general. And we chase these things that are in our bias rather than factual things. I am a person who works from 9 to 5. I prefer someone who works from 9 to 5. And it may sound very rigid or very structural, but if you break down any process, any emotion, anything that we have, there is structure behind it. And where things become wobbly and wiggly are when we put our own opinions in things. The opinions are what you are as a person, because those are your objective preferences. But we cannot mix each of those preferences with bias, because each of those biases together are very faulty. So overall, you can be a biased person because each of your objective thoughts come together to be biased. But being biased in each of those thoughts is destructive. It is obvious that each of us are different people. We have different preferences, but those are objective thoughts. The subjective sense in that would be not acknowledging there are other options that you never considered. It's almost looking at a book and saying its cover is not preferred, or its contents is not preferred because of the cover. Don't judge a book by its cover, in a sense. And so, if we can realize that differentiating factor, that is where this is coming from, this value system. Removing bias at an elementary level. Because as a person, you are biased overall. You may be a Republican and a person who likes hot dogs that dislikes hamburgers. But are those pure thoughts that you have looked at the Democratic side and said, I disagree with these. That's why I'm a Republican, because I agree with the Republican values. I dislike hamburgers because I've tried one and I don't like it. And I like hot dogs because I've tried them. If you haven't tried one of those, or you haven't fully disagreed because you haven't gone through the whole steps of that, if you never tried a hamburger before, obviously you can't say you dislike it. And so you have to expand your choice selection to make sure that you know the value of each of those things. Because ultimately, they all have zero value. We assign values to them because it's what we like, almost like a 1 to 10 scale on each of those things. 1 being bad, 10 being good, 10 for that hot dog, 1 for the hamburger. But if we never tried any of them, we cannot assign a value to them. And that's where that bias is. There's so many things that we don't know about, but we already have a predetermined bias towards them. And it shapes you as a person that is not very strong and rigid. And those things make you become vulnerable in a conversation or when you interact with someone. So try to make sure that you know everything that is possible, because those are things will come up that you just don't know about. So you try to evaluate them and determine where they fall on your value scale.